Alright, hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is Robbie here at Smirking Gun Reviews. I'm just doing a little extra intro to put some context into what you're about to see. This Saturday, I did a bunch of videos with the real Geno Reynolds, and the first video that I'm uploading is our Best of Tarantino video, and so I'm throwing a little something extra in the beginning of this, just to kind of get you prepared for some of the stuff that you're going to see. So, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and enjoy the video. Bye.
All right, Ramblers, let's get rambling.
Okay, Ramblers, let's get rambling.
Hearty fucking har.
A hearty fucking har.
Disco.
Hello?
And I bet you everything from a diddle-dad Joe to a damned if I know.
We got everything here from a diddle-eyed Joe to damned if I know.
Have some of your tasty beverage to wash this down.
Is that a tasty beverage or is that a tasty beverage?
You okay?
You take a red apples. Build this. None.
Minnie doesn't smoke a pipe. She rolls her own. Red apple tobacco.
I smoke red apple tobacco. That all right?
It's my favorite.
Maybe a bastard, but I'm not a fucking bastard.
My ass may be dumb, but I ain't no dumbass.
Kim, I may be stupid, but I'm not bloody stupid.
I realize passions are high.
While I realize passions are high, that was a while ago.
Well, I can't prove it. But since thinking don't cost nothing, I can think it, and I do.
Well, I didn't say they could prove it, but they sure did think it out loud, didn't they, Major?
You got to appreciate what an explosive element this Bonnie situation is.
I can certainly appreciate that. Fuck, I bet you do a damn sight better than okay.
I ain't through with you by damn sight.
Was die da drüben spielen, das scheint mir sehr amüsant zu sein.
Well, come on over. We got us a fight going on that's a good bit of fun.
你同其他美國女人一樣，只識喺餐館點菜，同埋使男人錢。
I know. I like smoking, drinking, and ordering in restaurants.
Yellow.
Oh man, Karugan didn't. That's why we run off.
Jesus Christ.
We should have shotguns with this kind of deal.
Man, you must be out of your fucking mind if you think I'm gonna get in this dirty ass trunk.
We ain't going nowhere but to Koreatown, man. You ain't gonna be in here no more than 10 minutes.
Man, I ain't riding in no goddamn trunk for no minute, man. Why I can't ride up front with you?
And I'm gonna ask you questions. And every time you don't give me answers, I'm gonna cut something off. This shit is off the fucking hook.
What's up, you bitch? I think this just might be my masterpiece.
There you go. Alright, hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is Robbie here at Smirking Gun Reviews. Today, joining me this weekend, what we've been talking about for a while, this is Geno Reynolds from The Real Geno. Yeah, I guess you could probably say your own stuff.
Well, that's okay.
You want to let everybody know where you're at?
The Real Geno, REELGENO.
All right, and on this video, we're going to be talking about our favorite Tarantino moments over the years. And I'm going to start first with mine, which is from Reservoir Dogs, and it's the commode story. There's a lot of amazing things that happen in Reservoir Dogs. But when I had to nail it down, since you don't actually see the robbery take place, and there's so many good moments of dialogue, I was trying to figure out which one really brought it home for me. And it made me think about Once Upon a Time in Hollywood and how the Bruce Lee situation was all a fantasy. And I still don't think people understand that whole scene was in Brad Pitt's imagination. And it made me think about how the Commode story was what Mr. Orange was doing to sell that story. He had to not just tell a story, but say it enough times to create a fantasy of his own to make these guys believe it. And so if he doesn't believe what he's saying, they're not going to believe what he's saying. But in this scene, he gets told by his handler this Commode story about this weird shit that happens to you in a fucking job, and how he goes into this bathroom with a bunch of drugs on him and a whole bunch of cops in the bathroom, and just every little detail about him going through the bathroom and listening to this cop tell this horrible story about how he almost killed someone, and him having to sweat through it. Meanwhile, around that scene, him just going over it and 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 over it, literally talking about how the weed drought, and how he's sitting there trying to watch The Lost Boys, and motherfuckers are knocking on my door. And you also got to give it up to Tim Roth trying to pull off an American accent, which is not really doing that great a job of, but come on, it's 1992. And so then when it all finishes up with them sitting in the little dive place, a little bar, restaurant, and him pulling it off in front of these guys who, if it doesn't go right, he's already, these guys are either going to disappear, kill him, or both. And I just found that to really be, in a movie that has a lot of violence and stuff, just listening to somebody trying to figure out how to lie to a bunch of criminals was my favorite part of that movie.
Well, when it comes to Reservoir Dogs, I mean, there's so many moments in that movie. I mean, there's some that I really enjoy. I mean, I still can't hear Stuck in the Middle with You without thinking of that scene, and it still disturbs me to this day, even though it's such a great scene.
You got K-Billy Super Sounds of the 70s throughout the whole thing.
I love Tarantino talking about the meaning of a virgin.
Oh, God, yeah.
Which is hilarious, even though Madonna is like, no, that's not what it's about, but she likes that movie.
Yeah.
The one that really stands out to me is, I know it's so quick, but the final shootout. It's just, it's so perfect because you've learned all the elements of all these characters and now they're at each other's throats.
Yeah.
And you just don't know what's going to happen, who's going to get who. You don't know if anyone's going to get away. And I love the fact that that scene leads to people still not knowing if Mr. Pink got away.
Yeah.
You have to listen to the credits. Did he get away? Did he not? It's still a question, and I don't even think it's ever been answered.
No.
And I love that because I know Tarantino hasn't done technically any sequels. I know they count Kill Bill as one.
Yeah.
But it's like, well, could we see Mr. Pink again since all these movies are in the same universe?
Yeah.
So I always liked that when it comes to Reservoir Dogs.
Oh, yeah.
Because that last scene is just like, okay, it's all come to a head. What's going to happen? Oh, everyone's going down.
And it's just such a fun shot to freeze frame to see how they shot each other, because it takes a while. Like, how did they pull that off? Like, you see, as the one guy goes down, he gets that final shot off, and I mean, it's also just really heartbreaking in a way that you're rooting for these people that have taken lives, and when he finds out, like, I'm a cop, and he's just sitting there and just like, he's sorry, they're both sorry. But there's nothing to be done anymore, and it's just like all of it just is completely falling apart. And Mr. Pink, like, you gotta really listen really carefully. You hear shooting and everything, but you don't see a body.
It's like, did he die?
Yeah.
Did he get arrested? Did he get away?
And anybody I think that would have survived that movie would have been Mr. Pink, because he was a professional, but he was also like, he's the one who had the diamonds. He's the one who had the plan. Like, he could have disappeared anytime he wanted to, really. And in fact, I think throughout most of that movie, he's wondering why he ever went back there in the first place.
Right.
So that's a definitely, all right, cool. All right, you want to go?
Okay, let's talk Pulp Fiction.
Sure.
My favorite Tarantino movie.
Okay, yep.
I'm not saying I don't love the others, but I have a special place in my heart.
The poster's right above my bed.
Okay, my favorite character in all the Tarantino films, and I can almost even say in a lot of movies, is Jules Winfield.
Absolutely.
Ever since I saw that movie. I have loved that character. And I know people have talked about certain sequels and spinoffs they would love to have for a Tarantino movie. They want to have the Vega brothers. They want to have the daughter from Kill Bill come back to hunt down the bride.
Yeah.
But I've always wanted to see Old Man Jules, right? Because he talked about he wants to travel the world, meet new people, get adventures, you know, like Kane from Kung Fu.
Walk the earth.
Yeah, he wants to walk the earth. So I've always wanted to see that movie. And when I saw Logan, I was like, man, I would love to see this, but almost a samurai-like Jules Winfield, Old Man Jules. And that I've wanted that to stay. I love every scene that he is in that movie. But when it comes to moments, the one that really sticks out to me in a movie full of moments is, and it plays in the Jules Winfield, it's the diner.
Yeah.
Definitely the diner scene. As much as I love the apartment scene, as much as I love the stuff with the wolf, I love the diner scene because it's him changing his life, saying, but I know I'm a stone cold killer and you're nothing.
Yeah.
But I'm going to let you go because I don't want to be that anymore. And it's just him getting shot at in that apartment changed his life, and I just love that performance. I still get mad that he didn't win any awards for
that whole year where, like, that they didn't basically, I mean, they won screenplay, right? But
yeah,
that year everybody got robbed by Forrest Gump, and everybody that loves Forrest Gump, fine.
I like Forrest Gump. I do. Do I
just
love it like I used to? No.
If it had come out any other year, I'd be singing Forrest Gump's praises probably. No. But I'm too raw. Shawshank Redemption and Pulp Fiction in the same year lose to a guy that runs into a bunch of people coincidentally. that bugged me.
And he created the Have a Nice Day shirt and everything else.
Yeah.
Told a president he had to pee.
And
you know,
like and the soundtrack is practically a star of the movie too.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, speaking of soundtracks being a star of the movie, Pulp Fiction. I listen to that soundtrack a lot.
I've been thinking about rebuying like all the stuff because over the years I've lost track of everything. I don't have any of it.
Before then, I mean, I didn't really get into movies. The movie that made me fall in love with movies was The Usual Suspects. So I really wasn't big time into movies until then, and that's when I started watching movies, and then like Pulp Fiction. And I had never seen a movie other than maybe Transformers the movie use a soundtrack so well.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, of course, that was me as a kid, and
Sure.
This is me, and I can go back and look at it now, but as a high schooler, I was like, wow, I love the way that they interact, put the soundtrack, making it part of the story, and he's kind of done that in every movie since.
Yeah.
So yeah, with Pulp Fiction especially, I mean, I listen to that so much.
Yeah, Pulp Fiction's is like for you as Usual Suspects. For me, Pulp Fiction was the reason why I love movies.
Yeah.
Like, I thought I liked movies. I watched a lot of movies. My life, I needed movies in my life. But for a while there, I was just watching anything and everything. And I just like, whatever. But I didn't know like how good a movie could be until Pulp Fiction came out. And it changed. It is like me listening to Pearl Jam for the first time. I was like, what is this? And Pulp Fiction did that, and the soundtrack did that for me. Like, I actually didn't see Reservoir Dogs until after I saw Pulp Fiction.
Yeah, Pulp Fiction was my first, too.
I listened to the soundtrack a million times, and I see Reservoir Dogs, and I hear that soundtrack. I'm like, oh my God, I get that soundtrack. And just, like, Tarantino's soundtracks are the soundtrack of my life, as far as, like, if you want to listen to some really great music that you might never have heard of otherwise.
Yeah.
And that's, like, the new from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, the Los Bravos, Bring a Little Lovin'. Never knew this song existed. Now I can't get it out of my head in a good way. But for me, the Pulp Fiction scene that I love most is, I like the diner scene. I get a little mad. I understand he went through something and he changed, but I wanted him to kill those guys. And I know there's a version in the script where in the original script, he kills him. He shoots him from underneath the table. And I
can see that working
dang it!
too.
I was like, if you look, if you find, they used to sell Pulp Fiction screenplay, and in the original screenplay, he kills him, and it's like,
I did not know that.
He did not give him anything, and they still walk out the door. And I like both endings, but for me, because it does involve Jules Winfield and everything, is the Bonnie situation. For me, I had to because it's just
great.
Because you get the best of everybody. You get even even Tarantino will tell you he's not the greatest actor, but between with the coffee, my gosh, shit, and it's just such a real way of somebody would talk to you if you're annoying them in your house. They're just like uninvited guests, except your uninvited guests bring a guy with no head.
Yeah.
And then you get Winston Wolfe that comes in, and it's Harvey Keitel, and just like he does not mince words with these guys. These hardcore stone killers, they worship this man. And and the whole time though, Jules isn't breaking cool. He's like, "Hey man, we're gonna do whatever you want." And then you've got, of course, John Travolta, who's sitting there, doesn't want anybody telling him anything, and just that whole description and like, "Are you an oak man?" I like oak myself. And just like the whole thing of like, I'm going to get fucking divorced, okay? No trial separation. One second, I'm going to grab this because sometimes this dies on me a little bit. No trial separation, no counsel. Like, I'm going to get fucking divorced because there's a guy, and I'm not going to say what he says, but dead blank storage, it's not my thing, man, because, and then them having to clean up the brains. And him just like saying, "Why am I cleaning up this guy's brains? Every time my hands touch brain, I'm Superfly TNT. I'm the guns of the Navarro."
Have you ever gone back to before that when he blows off Marvin's head and watched Travolta's finger?
Yeah.
The whole time.
Yeah,
I'm just watching. The second time I watched it, I'm like, did he really pull that trigger right then? And sure enough, they cut away right as he poop. I'm like, nice.
Poor and that guy's he was the UPS guy on Mad TV, right? That's I can't remember his name right now, but it's just such a comical scene about a terrible event.
It's Phil Lamar, by the way.
Phil Lamar, that's right.
Took like Green Lantern.
Yeah,
Green Lantern.
Futurama and stuff. But just the way that they get out of the situation, and it sets up the the end where you have them in the shirts and everything. They look like dorks.
Well, that's just it. They show up in the bar earlier in the movie, and you're like, why are they dressed like that?
They were just in suits. What happened? And so, like, of all the things, because I thought about saying Bruce Willis coming back for Marcellus.
Yeah.
Because it's just going like he's gotten away. He's gonna get away with it. He could let this man die, but he can't let him die like that.
Yeah.
And I thought about that and then you get the whole picking of the weapons and killing the gimp and everything else, and then the whole speech Marcellus gives the guy, like, "I'm not doing with you by a damn sight. I'm gonna get medieval on your ass." And but the Bonnie situation to me was just it had everybody working in such great harmony, even though it was chaos, that I just had to pick them.
Yeah, whenever I joke with people about needing something done, I still say "pretty please" with sugar on top. Do the effing whatever,
Pretty please, clean the fucking car.
Yeah, it's like, do the effing graphics at work.
You don't have to be able to eat shit out, you don't have to eat off it, man, but, we don't want any Johnny Laws looking in here, sticking their nose in our business. So the next one I'll start with is from Kill Bill Volume 1, and that's Mommy's Friend. Now, it's not the actual fight, because I love the fight.
The fights, all the fights are great.
The fight's incredible. It's what happens after the fight when the kid comes home and you see the bus pulling up as they're still, and they have to pull it together. And she blames the dog. The dog acted a damn fool. And Vivica A. Fox, this is like I haven't seen her in a lot of really good roles, but this was like her at the top of her game.
Yeah, she was great.
And it's like she knew, like, she wanted to kill this role.
Yeah.
And like she's standing toe to toe with Uma Thurman, who Uma's not going to lose this situation, but if Vivica's going to go out, she's going to go out giving everything. And then they just have this conversation about what they did to each other. And I should have been Black Mamba, and don't do this in front of my kid. And it's like, you should have thought about that before you had a kid. And this is before we know, like, she doesn't, the whole thing about having a kid. And it's like, you took away my kid, and now you're trying to defend your position. It was just really, really, really fantastic. And even though, look, there's so many good scenes in Kill Bill. I mean, I'd never want to pick a fight scene in a Tarantino movie, though. Or an action scene, because it's all about
good.
Yeah, because they're all good, but it's about the dialogue.
Yeah.
And then when she tries to, he goes into the cereal with the gun and tries to kill her.
What is it, Kaboom cereal, I think?
Kaboom cereal, and then gets the knife, and then having to tell the kid, like, if you still feel raw about it, you can come and find me.
Yeah.
And just such a real thing. Like, that's the stuff you see in old Japanese movies, kung fu movies from back in the day, except he did it in the suburbs.
Yeah.
With a couple of people that, if you didn't know any better, would just be a couple of ladies having coffee and maybe a really bad disagreement.
If they decided to make a sequel for that where the girl does go after her, it would be cool to have her go after her first but then train her later.
Yeah.
I mean, think about how that could work.
Yeah.
If she comes after, not knowing anything, she just comes after her with a gun or something,
And says, I can focus what you have inside you, use that anger for something else.
Yeah.
Because
that'd be the way I'd want to see it go, not just...
Yeah.
Because you wouldn't want to root against the bride.
No. Because then what would you do? Like, have Uma's daughter be like she kills Uma and then find out that she'd been training her daughter, and then you have a daughter-daughter fight?
That could
work too. That would be the only thing that I think would make that work better is because you'd have to because I think Uma would go, I need to die. I killed all these people. I'm a killer too. Because that's the thing in all these movies, a lot of these movies, everybody's a bad guy.
Yeah.
There's no innocent people here. So it's like rooting for the bride. It's like, sure, she wants revenge, but she's killed all these people too. She chose this life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's not like... It really, that's why it's called Kill Bill, because he's the guy who got it all started. It's important to take out, cut the head off. You know?
Well, when it comes to Kill Bill, the volume 1 anyway, what really got me was, because it was a bold choice, when the movie goes anime.
Oh, yeah.
When the movie goes anime, I'm like, wait, what? We're turning this movie into a cartoon? It was a cool way to show what was going on.
And different styles of anime.
Yeah. And I just love that he took a bold choice of not filming that with real people. It was like, well, let's tell this story in this form. And I just loved how it just always stuck out to me because at the time I'm not big into anime, but I was getting to watching some at that time. And that really stuck out to me that, oh, wow, Tarantino took this as an inspiration and used this, and I really dug
And he was showing appreciation for it. He was also trying to, with music, he gets people to like songs. I think that choosing to do an anime style is his way of saying, look at this. This is cool. Anime can be accessible and interesting to do. And like I said, he did two different styles. One from when she was the little girl seeing her parents get killed was one anime style, the actual animation looked different from what the hit that she does at the end. So he got two different artists, or at least companies, maybe anime studios, to do those scenes, and it was a bold choice because it takes you out of it, but not in a bad way. I'm sure there's people out there that were like, I liked everything except when it turned into a fucking cartoon, but anybody that
it is a weird transition, though.
Yeah, but anybody
I get that, but it's still cool.
Oh yeah, anybody understands that. So.
Okay, well, we can probably move on. You know what? I'll do Kill Bill Volume 2. I do want to go back to Jackie Brown.
Okay.
But
you can go to Jackie Brown. I didn't want to jump over it.
All right, we'll do Jackie Brown because Sam Jackson in that movie is amazing as well. I love how his character can go from calm to cold.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, they're chilling, watching girls in bikinis shoot guns, and of course, all he's talking about is the guns. But then you get to the part where he's in the dark room with Jackie Brown, and he's just talking to her, but then he's putting his hands around her throat, and then you got a gun to my nuts. That was such a cool scene, but it's just like he's being so calm, but he's putting his hand up there, and it was so cool. And of course, just in that movie alone, I had such a crush on Pam Grier after that movie. So, because I also loved all the flirting with her and Max Cherry, the
Robert Forster.
Yeah, I just loved the little flirting they had going on. Yeah. It's like, will they, won't they? You didn't think they were gonna pull the trigger, I love that stuff too.
And how he couldn't they both liked each other, but she's going one way and he's not.
I still like to imagine that after that he tracked her down.
Yeah, sure.
Especially when he retared.
Yeah,
which he was probably close to.
Yeah,
because he was pretty old in that movie. So.
Yeah, him and his buddy get on the boat. That Tiny Zeus Lister was his partner.
Yeah.
So go out on the Keys or wherever and meet up with her later on. I don't know.
And then, but the scene that really stands out in that movie to me is when Melanie is just ragging on Lewis.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, earlier in the movie they've had sex, and I mean, what was it? 3 minutes later is what they said in it. And she's just ragging on him as they're walking. You could just see he's getting more and more peeved.
Oh yeah.
And then he just turns around. He's just instantly out of nowhere, bang.
And then just.
But that leads to another cold moment for Sam Jackson's character, where the "you used to be beautiful" thing. That gunshot comes out of nowhere too, because you don't even see he's got his hand on a gun. All of a sudden, in the passenger seat from that vehicle, all of a sudden you see, and it's like, wow, that's such a cool scene too. But I love how just her just going, basically just ragging on him about everything. You sure you know where the car is? Well, this. You guys are stupid. And he's just. De Niro's just, you can just see he's fuming.
Lewis! I mean, I wanted to shoot her. If somebody was just following me around going, Rob, where's the car, Rob? I'd be like...
It's like, where's my gun?
Well, everybody has, I wouldn't actually shoot anybody, but we all have had those moments where we're like, man, it's a good thing I don't have a gun right now, because I might point it at you. I left out Jackie Brown only because it wasn't his work. It was Elmore Leonard's based on Rum Punch. But if we're going to talk about it, I'll throw in a scene. It's and cold and Samuel L. Jackson can be. It's how he gets Chris Tucker out of jail.
Yeah.
And instantly goes to his house, comes to him as a friend. Hey man, I just bailed you out of jail. You're not going to come out to the car.
Owe me.
And like him going like, I don't want to do this. This doesn't feel right. And him just goading him into the car. Oh, hey, now you got to get in the trunk. What? And just gets him to do it. And then you don't even see him. You just hear the Chris Tucker tone of voice. Hey, man, give me a boom. And just gets back in the car, calm.
That's what he's like, I don't want to get in the trunk. He's like, well, I don't want to pay this much money to get you out of jail.
Yeah. It's just like, oh, my God. But now, I Kill Bill Volume 2, I'm on. I don't know if you put anything for Death Proof, but...
I got a couple for Death Proof.
But for me, Kill Bill Volume 2 comes down to, again, dialogue and Bill's speech about Superman.
Yeah, I got that one on
Is
my
that
list,
yours?
too. Well, I got it on here.
Because it's just... It's
not my favorite scene.
Because I love comic books so much, anybody who watches my channel, you already know this. He always finds a way to make me think about new things a different way, like a Virgin song. Mm-hmm. Like I never considered it. Like, is it true? Doesn't matter. It's a really interesting theory. And him talking about Peter Parker is, he puts on the suit, he becomes Spider-Man. Bruce Wayne puts on the suit, becomes Batman. Superman, he's always Superman. He has to put on a uniform to hide the fact that he's Superman and the fact that that's how he sees us, as weak. And just that, it's a simple, short speech, but it made me change the way I looked at certain superhero characters forever.
Yeah.
And I don't know, how, you have it written down there too, maybe you have a little more on that.
I mean, I like debating that scene because, I mean, of course, if you get into the mythology of Batman, him in the costume is who he really is. But I get what Tarantino was trying to say there.
But they also know him as Bruce Wayne, and he can blend in.
Either way, that's his costume in a way. I mean, because he's pretending to be this, millionaire. Yeah. I mean, he is a millionaire playboy, but it's not who he really is. But I do enjoy that Tarantino at least was thought-provoking about Superman. Yeah. And I do love that scene. But the scene that really sticks out to me in Kill Bill Volume 2 is the escape from the grave. Okay. While the story of her training goes a little long, it's still good. But just her in the grave doing the short punches, that always stuck out to me because I love when she just walks into that diner afterward, just covered in dirt and just a glass of water. Of dust. So calm. And that one I always think is just the images of her, because I'm a bit of a claustrophobe.
Oh, yeah.
So seeing her in that grave, not being able to move, I mean, that makes me tense up. Mm-hmm. But then she's doing those little short punches, and it's working, and that really stuck out for me.
It takes you back to her training and with Mr.
Yeah.
with the beard, which that guy's amazing. But yeah, that scene did go on a little bit too long. But yeah.
So yeah, when it comes to Kill Bill Volume 2, that is what sticks out for me.
Cool. What's next for you?
Okay, I've got Death Proof.
Okay.
I don't. It's in my opinion, it is the weakest of the Tarantino movies. It's not bad. I get what they were doing. It was a little forced grindhouse if you really think about it. But I really dig the Zoe Bell car stunt.
Okay.
Because she's really that awesome.
Yeah.
Just watching her do that is insane. But as I was crushing on Vanessa Ferlito already in the movie.
Is she the one who does the dance?
She's the one that does the lap dance.
Okay.
So
I get you there.
So as a red-blooded heterosexual male, already crushing her because she has this beautiful smile, and I thought she was really cute. And then she does the lap dance. Yeah, and I listen to that song a lot. Let's just put it that way. At the honky tonk down. I don't even know what the song's called.
I don't know.
But
does anybody? I'm sure.
But is that movie great? No. But I love the stunts. Her hanging on the car, and then, like I said, as just a guy, I like that scene.
Yeah. I mean, I left Death Proof out because I just felt like it had the weakest script.
Yeah, it definitely is. I will agree with that.
Yeah, and it would be where if I had to pick one of his movies to talk about the action, it would be when he runs them over.
Yeah.
And I mean, because it just goes this isn't the end of the movie. We got to know these kids a little bit, and then he gets Rose McGowan in the car, and we get great evil Kurt Russell, which makes you go, okay, is he the kid of the stuntman from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood? Makes you change the way you see that, and like maybe their relationship and how she saw Brad Pitt's possible wife murderer, and could that have warped his mind somehow down the line to become this guy who does not like women because maybe the way his mother was? I don't know.
Well, yeah, but the wife of Randy and Once Upon a Time in Mexico is very emasculating.
Yeah.
to Randy.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it's Kurt Russell, and I know Zoe Bell's a great stunt woman, but it's Kurt Russell.
Yeah.
And he's wearing the cool, I wanted to say it looked like Logan's jacket from
almost, yeah.
It looked like from even the X-Men Origins Wolverine movie that we don't talk about. But that was a cool jacket, all right. It was probably the best thing in the movie was the coat. But I would have said that because running them over, it was so well shot and very just gritty and dark and gory. And the reason I leave it out too is because then you get these new girls and I just don't care.
Right.
And
yeah.
And I actually kind of wanted Stuntman Mike to win. I don't know why. I guess I just didn't care because it's like they're not attached to those other girls in any way. Yeah. If this was like a revenge story where they're looking for this guy, then that's something. Instead, it's just he meets another group of girls and this time they turn the tables on him. And while I like the whole kind of girl powery thing to it, like the girls beat the man, it just didn't feel right. Yeah. I don't know why for the story, but that's why. But moving on to, for me, we're at Inglourious Bastards. This one was really hard.
Yeah, it's such
a great movie. It came down to like two things. Which one's better than the other? And I just feel like everybody talks about the one scene so much that I had to go with the bar scene.
Okay.
I had to go with
that is a good scene.
I had to go with Mike because this was my introduction to Michael Fassbender.
Yeah.
And first,
it's a lot of people's introduction to Michael Fassbender.
And you got Hugo Stiglitz, you got Diane Kruger, who I'd never heard of before. A lot of those people. And then like in the previous scene, you had Mike Myers show up in just for one scene. But Michael Fassbender trying to pull off. It would have been fine if he hadn't been in that bar with the guy sitting in the back room and them just playing this game with each other of who's going to blink first. And then he puts his fingers up wrong. Yeah. And so he does 3 instead of 3.
He goes like this and it's supposed to be like that. Yeah. Or the other way around. The
little thing, this little detail that blows everything up. And it makes me think again of the Commode story and stuff, where it's just everything's fine until you make that one mistake in a Tarantino movie. And that guy just zeroes in on it. You see it in his eyes and everybody else. And then just, you got him sticking the knife and say goodbye to your Nazi balls. And just everybody goes down. and then we got a Mexican standoff, and I love that scene because it's, even though the first scene that everybody talks about has got so much tension, so does this one, and it just changed the movie for me because I was like, oh God, like our guys can lose, like we just, this plan might not even get off the ground now because the whole thing was supposed to hinge in this room, getting her out of there to the place, and now she's shot, and his guy's dead, at least one of them, and now they've just shot up a whole bar full of Nazis, so the Nazis should be on high alert for the area. And I just thought, I think that I had to put that one in there just because.
Well, one thing I love about Inglourious Bastards is this is where we learn that Tarantino changes history.
Yes.
So I do love that, Hitler didn't get to kill himself in this world.
No.
The bastards took him out.
Yeah.
And I love that because, and that kind of makes some things that happen in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood work for me because, well, he can change history in his movies. He has his own Tarantino verse, if you will. And it was hard for me to choose out of two scenes, so I do love the "You Owe Me Nazi Scalps" scene, but the scene that really I love from this movie is the introduction of the Bear Jew.
I thought you were going to say it, so I was like, man, I don't think he's going to say the beginning scene with, the introduction of the Jew hunter played by Christoph Waltz, which everybody talks about that.
I do love that scene as well because that was my introduction to Christoph Waltz.
Yeah, me too.
So that was great, but yeah, the introduction of the Bear Jew, just the tension of who's gonna come through that doorway, and he comes out of there with that bat, and you're like, oh God,
it the whole way.
It's like, oh God, this is gonna get bad, And that scene to me is the one. I mean, in a movie full of great scenes, that one is one I revisit a lot, just to watch the tension of, we're going to introduce you to the Bear Jew. And it's like, wait, they get meaner.
Yeah.
And I'd love that.
Yeah, and Pitt's just like, when the guy says that he's not going to give in or anything, he's just like, we were hoping you would say that because we don't really get we don't get to do anything out here, so it just like tickles him, like, man, I kind of hope you don't talk. I love that.
Yeah, such a great scene.
What's your next thing?
Django Unchained. Okay. God, so many.
The theme of this is how do you choose, right? It should be.
That's why I wrote down many scenes. When it comes to characters, I love the Doc. Calvin Candy is still one of my favorite villains in movies. I mean, because I liked younger DiCaprio. It took me a while because he always looked so young to me, right? So even when he got older, it was hard to buy he was playing older characters. I
always tried to figure out when that turned.
This movie for me. It was
this
movie.
When did he stop looking young? Because I was like, man, he looked really young in The Beach, Titanic, and Man in the Iron Mask.
Well, I thought he was good in like J. Edgar.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Or maybe it changed for me.
Well, he still felt young to me in that one. But when they did J. Edgar, it started a little bit, but still putting him in the old man makeup didn't help, even though it was good makeup. It was this movie where I finally was like, okay, I'm buying him. And I've really liked him ever since. So I love that character. I love seeing him go that dark. Man, which I don't even know. And I love that even though this isn't my favorite scene, I love that the KKK scenes.
Yeah.
I love that it kind of inspired Red Dead 2's KKK.
Yeah.
You can just tell.
Oh, yeah.
And I just love how much fun it makes of them.
Yeah.
How it just makes them so dumb.
Oh, yeah.
But when it comes to my favorite scene, and it doesn't stand out to everybody, I love the bar scene. I love the scene where they walk in the bar, hey, you're not allowed in here. Go ahead and pour us a drink. They sit down, they have a beer. I love Jamie Foxx. He's looking at the beer like I've never had one of these before, and he likes it. And then they get the right sheriff there, and then you find out that Doc is looking for a certain guy he's got a bounty for. So good, and I just love how calm Christoph Waltz is in that entire scene.
Yeah,
he's just like, no, we're gonna sit down, we're going to have a drink, and you're just like, he's breaking all sorts of laws here.
Yeah.
And what's going to happen? Is there going to be a shootout in this bar? Oh, no. he's there for a purpose. He made them mad for a purpose. And plus you get Jamie Foxx getting literally his first taste of freedom. You know, it's like, wow, this is what life has to offer. Okay, I think I'm going to start to like it, because then he starts to hunt, or he starts to bounty hunt with him. You know, he starts to learn more about life, you know, of not being a slave. That was, for me, other than the freedom scene, the scene that really kicked off that Jamie Foxx's character realizes he's free. And that one really sticks out to me a bunch.
Yeah, and in that scene, you know, like you have Tom Wopat from Dukes of Hazzard, and him just telling him how it is. This is what's going on. You owe me this money. And Jamie Foxx just looking at him and goes, God damn. like just, he did not, like, he doesn't fully understand this dentist bounty hunter.
Yeah.
And also now when we're talking about it, the fact that he's a bounty hunter makes me think again about Jay Cahill playing, or was it, Jay Cahill playing in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. The bounty law part, where he's just like, he doesn't care about nothing but the bounty. And in that movie, he tells the guy, like, I think it was Michael Madsen, he's like, you guys owe me this money. And they have that little exchange of like, oh, you know, like, I love it. For me, again, like you said, Calvin Candy, I picked the dinner scene because, again, it's like Tarantino saying something kind of controversial, but it's from a despicable character. It's like how people say, like, how can people like Homer Simpson?
Yeah.
It's like, because he's just, you know how stupid he is. No reasonable person would think he's serious.
Yeah.
Or you know what I mean? And so in this scene when he's talking about the skull, and it could be taken, you know, like the wrong, you know, if you watch it with the wrong kind of ears or eyes, it's very offensive what he's saying, but you know that it's coming from this despicable person that thinks these people, no matter how many he's got around him, no matter how many think he likes them, even Samuel L. Jackson, he will turn on all of them in a second. And when he gets the blood, he actually cut himself, and
when he slams his hand,
and gets on her, and so I mean her reaction, Kerry Washington's reaction, I feel was real.
Yeah. And
him just going off, and them just kind of sitting there, and it's like him trying to make them blink, and they don't. But that's where, for Christoph Waltz's character, it just goes, well, we're probably not getting out of here.
Yeah.
And, you know, he makes that decision, I think, in that scene of, like, I'm gonna kill this guy. We might not make it out, but I'm killing this guy. Yeah. And I just love that because, again, DiCaprio just goes full tilt. Just, ah! Yeah. And I mean...
Well, I guess when he slammed his hand on the table, he wasn't supposed to cut himself.
No,
it just happened.
And
he just went with it. And it's like, yeah, we're keeping that take.
I mean, come on. Like, small miracles happen in those movies.
Yeah. Well, yeah, just all the atrocities leading up to that. I love that it leads up to the white cake scene, you know. And then you need to shake my hand.
Did you have anything for the Hateful Eight?
I do, but nothing major. Yeah. I love the standoff between Marquise Warren and Sandy Smithers. I just love both those actors, and I just love that he knew who he was the second he walked in the door. And it's like, well, eventually I know I'm going to have to do something to this guy, you know, or he might try something on me because, well, of what I did to his son. Then,
yeah.
You know? And even though that story gets a little weird, I do love the standoff because you could just tell that the general is not really believing him at first. He's like, no, he's just trying to get a rise out of me. But then there's details, and you know, and it's like, well, we know who's going to die here.
Yeah, and I think I'm gonna absolutely agree with what you're saying. Like, pick the same thing. And the Hateful Eight is hard for me not because of the length. And again, I'm just showing, like, sometimes even I have personal tastes that I can't get past. And when Kurt Russell, spoilers, dies, I just get so mad.
Yeah.
I get so mad because I'm just like, no! But then I tell myself, it's Tarantino, dude. Everybody's going to get theirs.
Yeah.
But the thing about him, like what you're saying, and the story, and again, all the little details, it still to me goes, but we don't know.
Yeah.
We don't know. He's walking around with a fake letter from Abraham Lincoln. The guy knows how to lie. And how do you get a man that lost his son to fucking make a move? You give him the worst possible story of him and a black guy. A black guy makes him strip naked and makes him walk in the snow and all this other stuff.
And finds an interesting way to make him warm.
And just all that stuff and just pushing him and pushing him and pushing him. I mean, a normal person who wasn't a racist would probably be close to murder at that point. And that's, to me, like, again, it could be fantasy, it could be truth. And then they visualize it for us, same as like the Bruce Lee scene, same as the commode scene, so that it gets a bigger dramatic impact from us, knowing what that is probably what that guy's thinking in his head.
Yeah. He's
seeing that, and that's what, if I had to pick, that would be the same exact thing.
You know, and there is one other scene, but only because of the real-world consequence, when, what's her name is playing the guitar, and Kurt Russell smashes the guitar, and it turns out it was a real antique, and it was supposed to be a prop. Part of me just finds it kind of funny, just because of the real-world consequences.
Again,
it was a great scene, but it was just, when he grabs the guitar, starts smashing it. I think the reaction of getting the guitar snatched out of her hand was real because she knew it was the antique, and Kurt Russell didn't.
Yeah, I know. Sometimes, man, again, they get really lucky, or at least maybe it happens all the time. And Tarantino's just like, no. Other people might get rid of this scene. We're leaving it.
Yeah.
Because it's even better when you get real reactions from people instead of phony. You can tell all the time. And so I think we're on Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yep.
Now, I wrote down the end. I mean, come on. I even wrote that. But if I'm being honest, because I always say it's not the action, it's the dialogue. And to me, it's everything that around the scene with where Leo meets the little girl.
Mm-hmm.
And this little girl basically putting everything into perspective from her young age, being professional, wanting to be professional, and him looking at her like himself inside, like that book he's reading is basically a complete reflection of his own life, and how that little conversation leads to him having like the best performance he's probably had in a while. Yeah. And he gets to deal with the late Luke Perry, which I didn't mention until my second viewing review, which was really awesome. I mean, he clearly like he knew he was going to be in a Tarantino movie. He didn't know he was going to die.
Yeah.
And so like, there's that poignancy of it, and then him just going for it in this scene of like just a throwaway. I mean, think about it. When we see something like this on TV, we just go, that was pretty good, but we don't know how they're feeling.
Yeah.
And you can see, knowing what he's gone through to get to this part in the movie, which, for some people it's like, well, he's just doing a scene. It's like, but this scene means something to him.
Yeah.
Being, trying to become a better actor and get back his career means something to him, so it means something to me when he's putting it all out there and like throwing her on the ground, and then her telling him, that's the best acting I've ever seen. And it's like, but she's a kid. And it's like, but he respects this kid like you guys don't know. And so when he's like fucking Dalton, man, I was just like, yes, so this guy kind of found himself again through that conversation.
See, I love that whole section of the movie because of everything we see happen. But my favorite part is in the middle of it. I love the fact we get to see him. I love how they shoot the TV scenes, because normally with something that would be maybe 10 different takes, 12 different takes, they just kind of shoot it like it's all happening at once. We see the stuff on the outside. We see him going to the bar. Stuff they would have cut, reset up. We see it all put together.
Yeah.
So you've got the scene where he's messing up. And then later, we got the scene where he nails it and throws it to the ground and everything, and all that's fantastic. But what I love is when he's in the trailer. Because in the trailer for the movie, you think it's just a scene that's supposed to be funny, right? Because he's kicking the table, and he's like, puts it up, right? And it's funny in the trailer, but when you see it in the movie, when he looks in that mirror, my favorite scene in the movie is when he looks in that mirror, and he goes, if you mess up again, I'm going to kill you. Yeah. He's basically saying, I'm so serious that if I mess up again, I'm going to blow my head off, right? And you believe him.
Oh, yeah.
Because then he goes and he nails it. And he more than nails the next scene. And, of course, that's when the girl says, that was the greatest acting I've ever seen. So that scene of him in the trailer, looking at himself in the mirror, which if you didn't believe in that character, you would not believe him. But you believe in that character, and you believe that if he says, I'm going to do it, if he messes up, he's going to come back to that trailer and kill himself.
Yeah.
You believe it, and I love that scene. That's my favorite scene in the entire movie.
I didn't know how far along I could talk about for my favorite part, because I would have included that in that, because you could just say from the show do, and you hear people laughing when they watch the trailer, and it's like that's not just really like you couldn't just stop at 3, man. You had to have 8 drinks, and just he's really lost it there. Like I mean, and also everything building up to like in reality, he made like a little mistake. Yeah, it wasn't like he goes for a really long time before he goes. Line.
He needed his line like twice, I think.
And then he gets it right. But for him, it was just devastating because it also was like how far he's come down the hall. Or I'm playing a villain. I can't even get my lines right. I'm drinking too much and all this stuff.
Well, they show us that he had a chance to be in movies. Yeah. And they show him like replacing a real actor in a real movie, and it's like, oh no, I never had that chance, even though we know he did. And he failed. Yeah. And you just know he's falling down that hole, and you don't know if he's going to make it back out, which is why I love the ending, the very ending of the movie, because you kind of see that, well, he may have a future now. Yeah. Even though I have issues with the Sharon Tate part of the end of the movie. But
it's still, I feel like and to go again, like, the way that they were telling how these guys were thinking, like people that, if you don't understand the Steve McQueen part, like why do they have him in The Great Escape? It's because people that lose roles to other people are still going to think, what could I have done in that role? And that was, again, him, like, he's having this conversation with somebody, and while he's having that conversation, he's imagining what he would have looked like as Steve McQueen in Steve McQueen's part. And it's like, there are a few people that were like, why is that there? It's like, at first I thought it was. It took the second viewing for me to really understand it, because Steve McQueen has that almost the same exact moment earlier, where because DiCaprio says, when he says who was all up for it, he's like, I never had a chance, and they're describing all the guys that were in it. And then McQueen earlier is like describing Sharon Tate's, the girl that's with him. She's like, oh, she's got a type, short, cute, talented, and he looks at him and he's like, yeah, I never had a chance. Like they both have something that. They both want something that they can't get, not really seeing what they do have. And I just really liked that. It made me appreciate more, like, the more I see the movie, the more I love it. Yeah. I think it's definitely a movie that has to have more repeat viewings. I know some people have been like, I never need to see that movie again because they just find it boring. But I think if you really just start breaking it down scene by scene and really then connecting it to other parts of the movie, it flows really well. And the second time actually flew by for me. Yeah. Because I wasn't waiting for things to happen. I was able to just appreciate the performances without going, ooh, when's this? When are they going to, you know what I mean? Like the anticipation of like, I know what's going to happen. Yeah. So now I just like kind of microscopically look at all the details.
So let me ask you this. Sure. Tarantino's talking about only doing one more movie. Mm-hmm. All right, what kind of a movie do you want him to do?
Well, it better not be Star Trek. I mean, if he does Star Trek, I want him to. That should be like a one-off from something else. Like it's somebody else's property, kind of like Jackie Brown. Like he adapted it. Yeah. And Star Trek should be because like. I mean, if we want to be technical, he directed CSI, an episode of CSI. So wouldn't that be?
There's the bit part in Sin City.
Like
he's done little things here and there.
He did something crazy in Sin City to even get that done. I think they had to get rid of. They had to do something really bizarre to get him to be able to direct, or maybe it was Frank Miller. I can't remember, but yeah, I don't want it to be Star Trek. And what would I want it to be? So I've already given up on the Vega brothers because they're too old, and I don't want to see anybody else do younger prequel versions of them.
Of course.
It's like Solo, okay? Like I don't hate Solo as a movie, but I didn't really need it. Yeah. And I didn't really go. Why couldn't we just done a computer animated movie? I don't know why they don't. Anyway, that's off topic. But that's a really good question because there's so many interesting stories, and I mean.
Well, even if I'll just say this genre, even would you like to see him if Tarantino comes out and says I'm doing one more movie, and that's it, and then I'm riding off in the sunset, you'll never see me again. You can even if you have a character or whatever, or if you have a genre, what would you like to see? Horror. See, if I had a genre, I would go sci-fi horror, so like an Aliens, right? Sure. Yeah. But again, I'm going to go back, and if I could have any movie, it would be again Old Man.
Oh yeah. I mean, if we could go. Like,
I said if you could take a character,
if I could take a character,
you can do that, or if you want a certain genre, it's like where would you go? What would you want to see?
Well, Well, wasn't there also talk about Django sequel too?
Django Zorro. I guess he's
the comic book. Yeah.
Apparently he's working on it, but is he going to direct it? I don't know.
Honestly,
makes you wonder if they're going to get Antonio Banderas for that.
They have to.
I almost think that as well.
He's aged fine.
Yeah.
I mean, and make it kind of like the last hurrah.
Well, heck, look at the way he was in the Expendables.
Yeah.
He was fantastic in that. He could still do that stuff. I mean, yeah, I'm sure there was some stuntman here and there, but he could still pull that off. Yeah, so Django Zorro's a cool idea, too.
I guess you could say, I mean, if you wanted to be, like, really weird, you could, like, say, like, how does Christoph Waltz's character fare in America with a swastika on his head? I don't that'd be pretty interesting.
I don't know, but he's an artistic masterpiece.
You know, yeah. But I say horror because I don't, he hasn't really done sci-fi horror would be great. Like something with aliens maybe. Maybe like an Invasion of the Body Snatchers kind of thing. Not like slasher. Yeah. Not like slasher horror, but like something that just be really like get a bunch of people that, really good actors that you can make die in really interesting ways. But I honestly kind of just go, I trust him. Like I didn't necessarily, I wasn't that excited when I heard about Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I was like, Charles Manson murders? I mean, yeah, I know he can change history, but really, I'm like, I've seen so many Charles Manson things over the years, it's like, okay. But he changed my mind, and now I just go, I just trust him. Yeah. He can do whatever. And even with Death Proof, when it came out, I liked it just fine. It just took a while for me to kind of go, when you compare it to all the other stuff, why it's the lesser than. I mean, superheroes he hasn't really done. He hasn't done it all. I mean, he talks about comic book characters all the time, but would I want him to touch an IP of a superhero? I don't really know.
I'd almost rather see him, for superheroes, I'd rather see him do something, make up something his own.
So I guess, if anything, it would have to, like, something that realistically could be done, and in the comic world, I would say Django and Zorro, because I like Zorro. I liked the first Zorro, and if you can mix those two worlds together, that would be amazing. Yeah. I mean, they would have to still go R with it. And I guess enough time had gone by, I think that the people that liked the old Zorro movie wouldn't care that it would be a rated R movie.
I think especially if it's come from Tarantino, they'd be fine with it.
Yeah, I don't think anybody would be like, oh, we're missing out on an opportunity to cash in on all those kids who like to dress up like Zorro.
Well, that's just it.
I mean, like, nobody does.
I mean, when was the last Zorro movie, which I don't think did very well, the sequel to the one with Anthony Hopkins. It was the first one. Everyone likes that, but how long ago was that? I think the fans of that movie they're grown up now.
Yeah.
They're going to want
a more grown up
version of that Zorro. And of course you mix it with Django, that's going to be fantastic.
And you could definitely find a way to mix like Mexican American topics with the struggle for African Americans in the same time period and make it make sense for today's audiences of what's going on today. It actually makes the most sense. If he's gonna do something, if we're gonna say what would make the most sense for Tarantino to do, it'd probably be that. Otherwise, just do whatever you want, man. Yeah. Like, just don't stop.
Well, either way, we're gonna be curious.
I mean, we waited between Pulp Fiction and Jackie Brown was like 3 years, 4 years, and then between Jackie Brown and Kill Bill was like another 5 or 6, I think. Because I think Jackie Brown came out in '98.
I'm not good with the years.
Kill Bill didn't come out until like 2003, I want to say, 2002. So that was a long wait. We don't mind waiting for you, Tarantino. So if he wants to take semi-retirement, go chill out and spend your money or live your life, get some experiences, and then write some more. Or even, like, I wouldn't mind just if he wrote books.
Yeah, he's talked about that too, just writing books.
Oh, and then somebody could adapt him and just have him write the screenplay. He doesn't even have to direct.
Yeah.
But do you have anything else?
No, that's good for me on Tarantino.
Well, I hope that was entertaining for you guys. I've been wanting to do a video like this for a while, and it's great to have somebody like Geno here to talk and bounce ideas off of, and I think maybe we came up with some cool, good ideas. Let us know in the comments section, what are your favorite Tarantino moments? Let me know all the time. I respond to just about everybody, so don't be shy. It's a safe place to talk. So this is Robin Smirking on Reviews saying if you like this video, please hit that like button, comment, share, subscribe, all that jazz. We can find you where?
The Real Geno, REELGENO.
All right, and I'm Rob. You can find me on Twitter at Yesh8. That is YESSHH8, Yesh8. So have a great day, and we will see you on the next video.
Bye.
Bye.